Welcome to our latest briefing. Today, we're breaking down the rapidly escalating conflict in the Gulf and what it actually means for global business. The entire region is on a knife's edge, and let me tell you, the commercial shockwaves are already being felt all around the world.
So, the first and most immediate shockwave, it hit the markets, and it hit them hard. On Monday, Brent crude oil prices didn't just rise, they jumped more than 9% during Asian trading. Now you've got to understand, this isn't just some market fluctuation. It's the very first major financial consequence of the conflict we're about to unpack.
So, to really understand the risk, we first have to get a handle on what started this whole crisis. This wasn't some long simmering dispute that just boiled over. This was a sudden, absolutely dramatic escalation.
And things unfolded with just incredible speed. It all began Saturday morning with a massive US-Israeli military operation, which they called Operation Epic Fury, and it was targeting Iran's leadership directly. By that same evening, the death of Iran's supreme leader was confirmed. The retaliation was incredibly swift. By Sunday, Tehran had launched this wide-ranging counterattack that carried right into Monday, and that's what started rattling global markets.
And that retaliation, well, it was extensive. Iran responded by launching hundreds of ballistic missiles and drones. And what's really crucial here is that these weren't just aimed at military sites. Nope. They also targeted allies who were hosting US forces, hitting civilian areas and key infrastructure in the UAE, Bahrain, and Qatar.
Okay, so what's really interesting for any business leader watching this is just how quickly this geopolitical event translated into total commercial and operational paralysis. The focus of the conflict shifted almost immediately to a vital artery of global trade.
And that conflict is now centered right on the world's most vital energy artery, the Strait of Hormuz. We're talking about roughly a fifth, 20% of the entire world's oil and gas supply passing through this one narrow waterway. So its security is, without a doubt, a matter of global economic stability. And right now, that artery is basically blocked. As of Monday, we know at least 150 oil tankers have dropped anchor, totally refusing to enter the strait. This is not a slowdown, folks, it's a full stop. It's effectively bringing a huge segment of international shipping to a complete standstill.
The financial impact, as you can imagine, was immediate. Markets reacted instantly to the strait's closure. You see Brent crude surging to $79.50 a barrel, and US-traded oil wasn't far behind. These are really significant price hikes, and they're driven by the fear of a long, drawn-out supply disruption.
And experts on the ground are confirming this reality. You see, it's a dual-threat scenario. You have the direct physical risk to the vessels, combined with absolutely soaring insurance premiums. War risk insurance, which has to be renewed every 7 days, has probably jumped tenfold. That adds hundreds of thousands of dollars to a single voyage. So for all intents and purposes, the strait is closed for business.
Okay, so this brings us to the escalating risks. What we're seeing here isn't just another regional flare-up. The nature, the scale of these attacks, it all signals a completely new level of threat for any commercial operation in the region.
To really understand this shift, just compare it to what's happened before. Remember the 2019 attacks on Saudi Aramco? Those were highly targeted, right? They hit energy infrastructure. But what we're seeing now is fundamentally different. It's a whole new ballgame. Widespread, sporadic strikes on civilian hubs. Think international airports in Bahrain and Dubai, and even luxury hotels. You see, Tehran's strategy here really relies on endurance. They know the US and Israel have complete air superiority, of course, but they also know that defensive missile stockpiles are finite. So their goal is attrition. It's to keep launching attacks, stretching defenses, and proving they can outlast their opponents. For Iran, just surviving this conflict is a form of victory.
So here's the crucial point for your operations, the indirect cost. These amazing, gleaming cities of the Gulf, with their high-rise hotels, their massive malls, their transport hubs, they were never designed to withstand sustained missile and drone attacks. The disruption to business continuity is just immense and, frankly, unprecedented.
So with this totally new level of risk, we have to ask the big questions. What are the potential outcomes here? And what strategic choices have to be made, like right now? You know, ultimately, the end game for this whole conflict hinges on one central question. Does the Iranian regime survive? If it collapses, the crisis probably ends. But, and this is a big but, if it survives, as it very well may, negotiations will inevitably be back on the table.
And if talks do resume, you can bet that Washington's core demands are going to be the same ones that shaped this crisis in the first place. There are really three key terms:
a verifiable curb on the nuclear program, an end to their ballistic missile program, and cutting off support for regional proxies like Hezbollah and Hamas. So from an operational standpoint, the path forward is becoming clearer. Major shippers like Maersk have already acted. The immediate viable alternative is to pause all transits through the Gulf and just reroute shipping entirely around Africa's Cape of Good Hope. Now, this is not a simple decision. It adds 10 to 14 days and nearly $1 million in fuel costs to a typical Asia to Europe voyage, but it's really the only secure route right now.
And this brings us to the final, critical takeaway. The strategic landscape has fundamentally changed. The risks are so much higher, the costs are clear, and the old assumptions, well, they just don't hold anymore. The question for every single business leader with exposure to the region is no longer if you need to make a decision, but really, how quickly can you make one?
Look, this situation is developing by the hour. To continue following this and other geopolitical flashpoints, make sure you subscribe to the Global Conflict Brief YouTube channel. That's all for this explainer.